we are at Clothesline, a show where we string them up, put them to dry and wring them clean on the clothesline. The media is constantly accused of bias and slant of stories. Coming up, how the choice of a few vital words can make your perspective on a story change, all done in such a subtle way, it makes you wonder if the channel head has brainwashed all the reporters or has openly demanded the slant, or they check the color of chaddis and their political leanings before they hire them. Watch how the story of two ministers accused of corruption, which the government let cowed for 7 days, is presented as decisive, swift and forceful.
And Mrs. Gandhi, of course, has been quite forceful. She has been forceful when it was Ashok Chavan.
Sonia Gandhi was forceful? She was forceful when it came to Ashok Chavan. No problem being forceful there. I can just see her saying, "Get rid of him."
Be it Mr. Shashi Tharoor.
Shashi Tharoor? Well, good looks and an acquired uppity accent can only get you so far. No problem. Get rid of him too.
Or anybody where there are allegations of corruption.
Anybody? I agree. She was really forceful when the Robert Vadra allegations came out. What was her response?
A short quote, a statement coming in from 10 Janpa from Mrs. Gandhi, where she's defending her son-in-law Robert Vadra, saying that he's a businessman and transactions are transparent, above board, and there has been no misuse of either the office of the Gandhi family or any misuse being made by Robert Vadra.
It appeared as if Congress leaders were told to go out there and forcefully defend him.
आरोपों के घेरे में एक सांकेतिक रूप से प्रयास ये है कि कांग्रेस लीडरशिप को, माननीय सोनिया जी को कहीं ना कहीं उसमें इन्वॉल्व करें. हम बड़ा स्पष्ट कर दें कि जो जवाब होगा वो बड़ा सीधा जवाब आरोपों का होगा. इससे कोई भी दूर का संबंध हमारी राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्षा से ना है ना हो सकता है.
जिनके सारे आरोप निर्गल, बेबुनियाद, झूठे और बिल्कुल अफवाह भरे पाए गए.
जिस तरीके के इल्जामात वो लगा रहे हैं, बेबुनियाद इल्जामात.
Of course, there was NDTV lending a helping hand, Nidhi asking her first question by labeling the allegations as sensational, which in India means baseless.
Mr. Khurshid, there are sensational allegations that have been made by Prashant Bhushan and Arvind Kejriwal today against Robert Vadra. What is your initial reaction to this?
Then Nidhi kind of apologizing.
Powder, you're shining.
Stop. This is how real people look. Then Nidhi kind of apologizing about asking the question that must be asked by first saying, "We have no idea of how much of what has been alleged is actually true." A prefix that is never used on the channel when reporting on allegations on the less powerful or sociable. And then she throws him a lifesaver by asking him whether he saw political overtones to it.
I have no idea about how much of what's been alleged is actually true, but do you, since this is an attack on a member of the Congress's first family, do you see clear political overtones to it?
So first you save your own by saying, "I don't know if it's true," and then open the door for him to put the charge of political climbing on Arvind Kejriwal. And please note, NDTV killed the sound on "we have no idea."
No idea. We will strategize. We will certainly put our heads together, put our best minds together and see if something more needs to be done to teach them a lesson or two in what the law of the land is.
I'm sure Kejriwal and team were shaking with fear. Their best minds will be put together. Yeah. Look what the best minds have brought India to in the last decade. Declining economy, corruption, scams, and they have the honor of pissing off the whole spectrum of the people of India. Farmers, weavers, students, business, the middle class, and now Ashwini Kumar, Pawan Bansal. And no matter what they may say, they're as pissed as you and me right now. Let's see who's left. But who cares? As long as these two are not too pissed, Congress and company are comfy. So Narega, the food security bill, cash transfer will bring them back to power. And for every scam exposed, their defense follows. And then the ultimate arrogance of the upper crust never ever fails.
These are frankly upstart political people, and upstart political people should, I think, not forget what the law requires people to do.
You don't get it. Khandani log nahi hai ye.
A probe a minute is Ravi Shankar's idea of life.
Well, if there's a corruption scam a minute, then a probe a minute naturally follows, doesn't it? Why don't the people of India get it? We should be ignoring such frivolous demands for probes. Arvind and the BJP are just lacking in Khandani culture. That's the real problem. When it comes to horse trading, we know pedigree matters, कभी घोड़ा नहीं खरीदा है क्या?
I'm afraid that he and Arvind Kejriwal don't seem to belong to a culture which we call democratic. I think they seem to have confined themselves to a culture called probocratic. So they want a probocracy in this country, not a democracy.
केजरीवाल किस गांव से आए और गांव से कहां तक पहुंचे?
किस गांव से आए हैं केजरीवाल जी? Wouldn't you call that mango profiling? Now that we've established NDTV's credentials, back to NDTV's report.
In this context, he immediately called for that meeting with the Prime Minister, calling him to his residence to submit his resignation. In this case, both Mr. Bansal, of course, where there was gross impropriety because his family members were involved in what was seen as a clear case of bribery for an official post along with his official staff. And in this context, he immediately called for that meeting.
Immediately? On May 3rd, Vijay Singla, nephew of Railway Minister Pawan Bansal, was arrested for a 90 lakh bribe. It took Pawan Bansal 7 days to resign. Since that is immediate by NDTV standards, little wonder that they are seldom first with any story. Then gorgeous Sunetra had a panel that planned to discuss the Pakistan elections when the Congress resignations took place. But since journalists always are in the know of what is about to happen, she declared blithely that this panel was there to discuss the elections in Pakistan. Can't blame her. How can one disinvite guests? And everybody can talk about anything, as we all know. But her introduction for KC Singh will go down in the annals of brilliant television journalism. Or perhaps that Jessica Parker 4 Chicks program. Just watch.
KC Singh, also former ambassador, former diplomat, joining us in Delhi, someone who knows how it all works and is in the know of things happening in Delhi.
Someone who knows how it all works and is in the know of things happening in Delhi. Are we talking about some socialite who does the rounds of parties? She could have said former ambassador to UAE and Iran, career diplomat. KC Singh was also the coordinator for counter-terrorism, is now working at the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies. But that would mean she'd actually have to lift a finger and guess what? Google. But it gets better.
So you're saying they should have been sacked much earlier?
No question of sack. They should have resigned themselves.
But what's with the smile? Ah, I forgot. Her program is called Trending This Week. Maybe she thought he was talking about whether shararas under kurtas are trending or not. Watch.
You're caught with your pants down, for God's sake. At least have accountability then. Why do you need to be? And then the Prime Minister, very clearly, these two people were close to the Prime Minister. He was dragging his feet.
And again, KC Singh is a serious man. Okay, a good-looking man. But he's a serious man. What are these smiles for on a serious subject?
And finally, you take the private secretary. Why should ministers be allowed to carry on private secretaries for tens of years? There should be fixed amounts. They are not their personal mundus or their servants, domestic assistants. Then the cozy relationship. Mrs. Gandhi talked of committed bureaucracy. He may be personally honest, but he is intellectually completely obtuse.
KC Singh is making solid points. Should the anchor have any knowledge of the subject? Why? Are you crazy? Why is that necessary? All you have to do is lob the ball on the other side of the court.
That's what Dr. S.Y. Qureshi was also saying. Do you agree with that?
And then if you know nothing of anything, you can always fall back on a question that a girlfriend could ask her boyfriend when she's been waiting for the marriage proposal forever that hasn't come.
Where do you see this going? I mean, where do you see this going?
So NDTV reported that the Lal Batti on the car disappeared. And we are here to report that the Baba suit Ashwini Kumar has always been seen in, that has also disappeared. And this is what gets all the saffron kachas in a twist. And who can blame them? The Hindu newspaper ran a headline, SIM used in Malleshwaram blast in Bangalore belonged to RSS leader. And who can blame them? Story turns out that the SIM card belonged to an RSS leader who had his SIM card and phone stolen the day before, and he had nothing to do with the blast. Not good, not right, not fair, too obvious. To lay your slant and leanings so bare. Who knows? Investigations may reveal a connection, but as of right now, the facts don't seem to suggest one, while the story does, which is also fine as a style of reporting as long as you extend it to cases involving other political outfits too. We have breaking news on Clothesline. Vinod Sharma disagreed with a Congress spokesperson.
देखिए भाई, अभी विनोद भाई जैसा बताए, बात बिल्कुल सीधी है कि ये एक पॉलिटिकल गेम प्लान है।
नहीं, आप लोग भी तो उनको डिजाइन नहीं करवा रहे ना।
तो अभी जब बात पे आ रहा हूं मैं कि भाई यहाँ पे बात बंसल जी की है और बंसल जी के रेजिग्नेशन
नहीं, आज अगर आप सोच रहे हैं कि उसका हमने पोर्टफोलियो तब्दील करना है और एक आदमी से रिजाइन करवाना है, तो पहले सोच लेते इस बात को.
That can only mean factions have now been created in the Congress party with pro Sonia, pro Manmohan Singh, pro anybody who will make me a minister, pro anybody who will give me a ticket, pro anybody who will give me $1,000 for a newspaper. More on that later. Which also means another bit of breaking news. Sonia Gandhi was considered the glue that kept the fractious Congress together. What's happening to the glue? But nobody believes any Congress supporter moves without the High Command giving the order, as when her Parliament army was ordered by the Commander-in-Chief to attack. Now we should examine what the Congress soldiers are saying. On the big fight, Vikram Chandra asked a great question, and he really did a good job anchoring this. He was balanced and fair and wasn't sucking up to anybody.
Sanjay, if you had to ask these two ministers to go, and it obviously seems that you did have to ask them to go, why wait, have the destruction of Parliament, all of this building up, and then you ask them to go? It could have been done in a more graceful and a more, statesman-like manner earlier.
What did the soldiers say?
In all honesty, you do not orchestrate or manipulate resignations of ministers who are holding pivotal positions.
Ho, ho, ho. The minute someone denies anyone orchestrated or manipulated the resignations of ministers, immediately it brings political pundits to add fuel to the fire of rumours that all this was orchestrated to get rid of Manmohan Singh's men and finally him. But we must ask, it was established in the Colgate scam that the CBI is not independent from the government. The CBI director himself said so. Then the obvious question follows. CBI could not have suddenly got independent just to investigate the railway minister Bansal and his nephew. It does raise the suspicion of it being orchestrated. Genuine kudos to Barkha Dutt for getting a great interview with Imran Khan's sister Alima Khan, who obviously hero worships her brother. I think Pakistani women are the greatest storytellers in the world. The drama, the pathos, the pain, the pride, the historical exaggeration, sacrifice, melodrama, emotion-filled, trembling voice at the right moments. Our Barkha also got into the drama of it all with her introduction. It's infectious, and why not? It's fun. I'd do it too.
Alima, it's obviously a very tough time for the family, but the medical bulletins that we've heard now say that he's getting better. But still there's an irony to the fact that Imran, whom I've often interviewed, and he's always said to me, Barkha, I'm going to be the next Prime Minister of Pakistan, never wavering in that self-confidence. He's not even going to be able to step out and vote on polling day. So that's quite ironic, isn't it?
It is.
Wah, maza aa gaya. Who needs a soap opera when real life opera is so much better? But Barkha got this interview and nobody else did. Now we all know how tough journalism is across the border. But many people would give an eye and a leg or even a split head to cover politics in Pakistan. Makes our elections look like child's play. Pakistan's election this time qualify as the campaign of the absurd. What's wrong with Imran? Doesn't he understand Pakistan elections? He should visit our side also, where not only do we have ballot stuffing, we also have TV veteran journalists who orchestrate capturing of booths specially for the camera. From petulant political inheritors flying off to their second home in Dubai, nothing like a spot of dune surfing to get your mind of campaigning in the Pakistan summer, to ex-presidents getting shoes thrown at them, having their nomination papers rejected, and finally having to break into a quick sprint to escape arrest, to being locked up in the confines of their palatial home, to falling ex-playboys. That's not going to make less dim, for sure. And kidnapped political heirs. And Nawaz Sharif showing us just how civilized he is. Everyone loves a mascot after all. Sadly, few are kept chained. Just to inform our viewers, Nawaz Sharif's tiger died from all the campaigning in the heat. In case you thought Imran Khan was the worst casualty of campaign exhaustion. If you think life for politicians and their tigers and pretty boy sons is tough in Pakistan, the collateral damage is actually the journalists. So all those journalists who claim that life is so tough in India and politicians treat them so roughshod, at least we don't get thrown out, bag and baggage out of the country. Unlike poor Declan Walsh, the Pakistan bureau chief of New York Times still doesn't know what hit him. On the eve of the Pakistan elections, Declan, who's been doing some crack reporting from Pakistan for the last 9 years and was really having quite a good time, was handed a midnight expulsion order for indulging in undesirable activities and was guided to the airport within 72 hours with a convoy of jeeps. Remind you of someone? Maybe Declan should have just come here and stuck to the newspaper business. All he had to do was walk over to Rahul Gandhi's car and sell newspapers. We all know Rahul Gandhi wants change. But just how much? Here on News Laundry, we will tell you exactly how much. 998 rupees in change. Chutta hai kya? Okay, sorry, I'm being unfair. He didn't want change. He wanted the newspaper boy at a traffic light to keep the entire 1,000 rupees. Or as a true Congress Khandani would say, keep the change. In case you missed the story the Congress PR machinery tried to cash in on, it was this heart-wrenching tale about a young boy at a traffic light in Bhopal who came up to Rahul's car to sell newspapers. Rahul Baba offered him 1,000 rupees to buy a 2 rupee newspaper. The boy didn't have change and asked Rahul to take the newspaper for free. Now, if Rahul's PR managers wanted to play up this story to demonstrate how in touch Rahul is with the less privileged, we already knew that.
I am somebody who spends a lot of time with poor people.
What the newspaper story did was to endear Rahul to us in other ways as we got to know more about him. Here's how. Now we know Rahul's car stops at traffic lights. He is law-abiding. We also know he reads newspapers, so he's informed. He pays full rate for stuff and doesn't expect massive discounts, unlike some other people we know. But on some counts, this story backfired. It got many asking, did Rahul really think a boy on the street selling newspapers would have 998 rupees in change? He would have had to have sold 500 newspapers to have that kind of cash. These are newspapers, not plots of land or flats that get sold in dozens. We feel it is our duty to let Rahul in on a few more secrets of the Aam Aadmi, so that a PR attempt like this doesn't backfire again. There is a concept called a power cut. No, this is not when mummy clips Manmohan Singh's wings for being too assertive. It's when those bright little things called lights and cool things called ACs at home don't work because there is no electricity. You wouldn't know that, but most of India deals with that daily. Then there is a concept called waiting lists. No, this isn't the list of all the people waiting to meet you or your mama. It's a list that all Indians are on, whether they want to buy a rail ticket, get a gas connection, get school or college admission, ration cards. Now, what's a ration card, you might ask? No, it isn't a low-cost competitor to Archie's cards. It's a concept where the poor of the country, who's poor, you might ask? Monte can tell you, unless the Planning Commission now claims that all the poor of India have been pulled out of poverty. Last week, Pavan Bansal lost his temper with the news media in Chandigarh and threatened someone. I don't blame him. The media really got his goat. No, I mean really, on camera, they got his goat. Being fed by him. No, not his nephew. A real goat. See? Now, wouldn't you be upset if the goat that was to ward off the evil eye on you was struck by the evil eye of camera lenses of the media and failed at its task of keeping you in your ministry? So the goat trick didn't work. Pavan Bansal was the lamb for slaughter. Sonia Gandhi was credited for taking the bull by the horns. The PM ended up looking sheepish. And as for the goat?
तेरा दर्द न जाने कोई, तेरा दर्द न जाने को, बाहर से तो खामोश रहे तू, भीतर भीतर रोए रे, के भीतर भीतर रोए, तेरा दर्द न जाने को।
सिंह साहब, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे कि आरोप प्रत्यारोप दोनों तरफ से कल सुप्रीम कोर्ट की टिप्पणी आई, उसके बाद विपक्ष के हमले बहुत ज्यादा तेज हुए हैं कांग्रेस पार्टी पर, सरकार पर, लेकिन कौन है जिम्मेदार सीबीआई को तोता बनाने के लिए? और ये बेचारे तोते के पीछे क्यों पड़े हैं? इसमें तोता का क्या कसूर? कई साल पहले प्रेसिडेंट ज़ैल सिंह को चंडीगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी की एंथ्रोपोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट ने दावत दी। वहाँ पे प्रेसिडेंट ज़ैल सिंह ने बहुत बेहतरीन सवाल पूछा। उनने कहा, चार्ल्स डार्विन साहब कहते थे कि आदमी बंदर से आया है, तो मैं पूछता हूँ तोता कित्थों आया? अच्छा ठीक है, तो मैं पूछती हूँ डार्विनियन थियोरी को लेके सीबीआई तोता कैसे बन गया? इसका जवाब
वैज्ञानिक विशेषज्ञ से पूछना पड़ेगा।
क्या ऐसा होने वाला है? 10 जुलाई को सरकार की तरफ से क्या जवाब दिया जाएगा और उसके बाद जब मॉनसून अधिवेशन आएगा संसद का, तब क्या दोनों पार्टियां, जो अहम पार्टियां और सभी राजनीतिक दल मिल बैठकर इस पर कोई अहम फैसला लेंगे या इसी तरह से तोता ही बनी रहेगी सीबीआई?
ये धरती हिलाने वाला सवाल का जवाब 10 जुलाई को ही मिलेगा। मैं फिर पूछूंगी 10 जुलाई को, बेचारा तोता का क्या कसूर? और फिर हम कहते हैं एक और कमेटी बननी चाहिए कि ये जो जीओएम बनी है ये तय करने के लिए कि सीबीआई तोता है कि नहीं, कहीं ये खुद ही तोते तो नहीं बन गए। I have a complaint to my team members. In the last episode, my esteemed team members stopped the recording numerous times to throw powder on my face. Just look at the powder. I want to tell them there is such a thing as too much powder. I will not look like a painted up buddhi. What is that? Budi, ghodi, lal, lagam, whatever. So stop. I am putting my foot down. Rather, you are putting the powder puff down. But there are others who just can't get enough of the powder puff.
तुम मेकअप आर्टिस्ट हो, you are the responsible person. I am not.
मैं नहीं आई क्या?
आप बताएं आपने की क्या है?
अब आपको शिकायत।
आप बताइए क्या
तीसरा चक्कर लगा।
आप बताइए क्या पफिंग की आपने?
जैसे करते हैं पफिंग, मैंने वैसे ही।
ऐसे करते हैं?
ऐसे ही करती हूँ मैं, पहली बार तो नहीं कर रही कि आज मुझे नहीं पता कि मैं।
तो आपको लग रहा है कि ये पफिंग हुआ है?
What is puzzling after all the fighting with the makeup woman for not puffing her, as they call it? She puffs herself, takes out the mic, and the studio lights go off. Was the puffing for her to look good on her way home?
शायद आपने मुझे फोन पे इसलिए रोक
लाइए, मुझे दे दीजिए, मैं खुद कर लूंगी।
बिल्कुल करें, मुझे तो कोई इसमें ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं कि आप खुद करें या मुझसे करें।
अब कोई फायदा नहीं है फालतू में मैं बोलूंगी।
Since we are on Pakistan, I got an SMS saying, हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर नवाज शरीफ है, आपका प्राइम मिनिस्टर ना आवाज है ना शरीफ है। हंस लो, every tiger has his day।
देखते हैं ताज़ा खबर।
मेरे बाल खड़े हो गए, मालूम है क्या करूं? सांप है जो सितारे से बाहर आई है, प्रॉब्लम नहीं तो सही कहेंगे। मैं हूँ पेंडू, मैं पेंडू हूँ।
सूरत हाल पर बात करने के लिए हमने राब्ता किया है मारूफ तज्जियाकार तलत हुसैन से। जी तलत साहब, सिक्योरिटी हुकाम ने ब्रीफिंग में बताया कि अगर भारत ने दबाव बढ़ाया तो फौज कबायली इलाकों से निकालकर सरहद पर भेज दी जाएगी। आप क्या समझते हैं, सूरत हाल किस जानिब जा रही है?
ये भी पहले मेरी बात सुन लीजिए कि आपने गलत आदमी को कांटेक्ट कर लिया है। मैं वो तज्जिया निगार तलत हुसैन नहीं हूँ, मैं तलत हुसैन आर्टिस्ट।
जी तलत हुसैन साहब, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका हमसे बात करने।
As you see, it's hard work anchoring the news, but we promise we'll make it worth your while as we keep track of you while you keep track of what's happening. That's a wrap for the week. If you have any moments from journalism which made you go, oh wow, or oh shit, email them to us or tweet to us. Peace, be the change, stay connected, stay online.